Let's talk about the fact that President Trump incited an erection.
His various cases of, he's got charges of inciting an erection.
Donald John Trump incited the erection.
They didn't like Donald Trump. They said he participated in an erection.
Congresswoman Pelosi, are you at all Congresswoman Pelosi, are you at all concerned that the new January 6th committee will find you liable for that day? Are you at all concerned about the new January 6th committee finding you liable for that day? Why did you refuse the National Guard on January 6th?
Shut up. I did not refuse the National Guard. The president didn't send it. Why are you coming here with Republican talking points as if you're a serious journalist?
The American people want to know. We still have questions. Thank you.
I want to put my son in jail for something that they made up. So they know they made it up. And they say he will serve the rest of his life in prison. These are sick, bad people. And don't tell me about us going after them. If anything, we've been very, very soft. I wouldn't be that soft, I'll tell you that. Thank you very much, everybody.
You can't always tell everything that's going on right up front, because if you tell everything that's going on right up front, then your enemy is going to know exactly what you're doing.
I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing.
So yeah, we have a bigger issue than just Democrats. We have an issue of the American indoctrinated people that just let things like this go. It's been happening for years and years and years, and frankly, I'm sick of it. And so I'm just telling you, they're telling you, and they've been telling you this stuff in front of your face for a really long time.
Our own government working against us. I mean, we've always had the government working against us. We just didn't know it. I don't know about you, but I really like that song. I know I'm the one who wrote it, but I really like that song. It just kind of like, it's uplifting. It makes me go, yeah, we can do this, which is what the song's supposed to be about anyway. Want to say hello to a few people in the room. We've got Barb. Hi, nice to see you. She's over there on the East Coast. And Jamie, Carlos, Santiago. How are you? Yeah, nice to see you. And we got Tim and Shauna Vision and Mark and John. How are you? I can read your comments on Rumble. I find that interesting because, just so you know, there for a long time, as long as Rumble has been a thing, we haven't been able to the comments so I could actually see what you were saying on Rumble. And now we can. I don't know if it was that, because I use a streaming service called StreamYard. And so they must have made a new deal or something, because the whole interface with Rumble is completely different and it's better. So I'm glad about that. So we got people on X and Facebook. I can see your comments on Facebook in case you want to say also on X. Nice to see you, Tracy. Yeah, so the channel's back. Great. There's so much news going on, and there has been a lot of news going on for the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, whatever. But because of the situation with YouTube and all that, I really just, it's like I'd said everything that I need to say. But now we have the Democrats acting like complete and total, utter, bratty, dangerous morons. Hey, Brian, can see you over on there on X, and I got Brian over here on YouTube also, Brian Witchard. He's in Bang Bang, Philadelphia, and then they got Mr. Sanders over there. And aren't you in Texas? I think you are. So anyway, the Democrats are so far out of control. It is unbelievable. And I don't understand why they think that their continued propaganda like we're going to all of a sudden listen to what they have to say. I don't know about you, but I'm sick and tired of the noise. They've done it so much that it's like, the little Dutch boy who put his finger in the dike. Remember that? And every time it'd spring a leak and all kinds of, oh, you're in Pittsburgh. Well, that's interesting. I did not realize that for some reason. And then we got Ralph over there in California. Kash Patel announced he found over 8,000. I know, missing children. I saw that. There's so much news coming so fast that I have to choose like the biggest thing that's going to happen. And I think right now, one of the biggest things you have to watch out for is the fact that the Democrats are saying, the Antifa and all that are saying that they're going to dress up like Trump supporters and go to the No Kings rally dressed as Trump supporters and pretty much attack themselves. This is how desperate they are. I mean, are you serious? Look at this video. Now she's warning us. She's not part of the left. She's actually warning us.
A lot of you are upset. I'm seeing all the tags and the comments and the videos you're sending me, so I'm going to address it. Yes, the left plans on dressing like us, like Trump supporters, going out this weekend on the 18th to their little protest and causing chaos. But think about this logically. They just put their plans for doing things that may not be illegal on the internet. They just declared what their plans are. Do you think these police officers are going to arrest them and be like, oh, they got a MAGA shirt on? Case closed. I mean, in most states, that's not going to happen. I could see the media trying to spin it. I really could. But we also have all of these videos. We have all these people saying that they're going to do this.
This is how ridiculous
so
they
it's
are.
going to be easy to debunk because... They weren't so smart. They weren't so smart with their planning. So yes, that is a real issue that could come up. But we also have a lot of ways to debunk it. They have put all of their cards on the table. Good job, guys. Good job. But yeah, if you see somebody wearing some Trump gear and they're acting like a lunatic, just go ahead and make the assumption that they're not your friend. That's how we're going to go forward this weekend. And I mean, just you guys think that you're going to disguise yourself and we're not going to know who you support? We can tell.
This is the same thing that they did on January 6th. Okay. This is the same thing they do at various things. They try to pretend because all they're looking for is some kind of, news propaganda so they can take pictures. It's all a staged thing. Yeah, and they do look like lunatics. And they go out there and they say things that are just totally ridiculous. It's kind of like, what was it? The Patriot Front. It's like, you guys are not patriots. That's number one. Number two, I don't know any Trump supporters who go out there all dressed in khaki pants and whatever color shirts they had on and cover their faces. I don't know any of them. Now, of course, ICE people are going to do that because the left is such a Looney Tune that they want to dox people if they know who they are. And these people have to understand that, you know, their families are in danger and stuff like that. They've got a very dangerous job. And I don't know if you know this or not, but the Mexican cartels have put a bounty on the heads of ICE agents. And so that's a real problem. Okay. I don't know what the bounty amount is. Well, that's true. They do usually have green hair, blue hair, purple hair, pink hair, whatever. And they're usually really, really ugly. It's like the characteristics of a lefty, Antifa, whoever. I mean, the stereotype writes itself, does it not? And it doesn't even matter what shirt they have on or what cap they have on. The lunacy exudes from them. So if you see them doing that kind of stuff, you already know that it's not. I mean, because I don't think there's going to be one single conservative that would show up for this Looney Tune event, because we got better things to do than run around and be their mommies. And we're certainly not going to subject our children to that stuff, because these guys are going around naked now. This is what I don't understand. So they already look bad to begin with clothes on. Okay. They take the clothes off. I don't know. Do they think the ugly is going to automatically just exude from them, and all of a sudden the building is going to crumble from the amount of whatever they got aimed at the buildings? It doesn't make any sense to me why you would run around naked. Or did you see the one? I don't even want to play it on here, because the amount of ugliness is so eye accosting. And I don't know if any amount of hypnotism is going to get rid of that image from your head. So I don't really want to put it on my show. But they were lying on the ground, naked, men and women, naked on the ground. Yeah, Penny, it's just so ridiculous. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if you're trying to sway us in your direction, or exactly what you're trying to do here, but that is not going to cut it for me. All that's going to do is, maybe if I'm feeling generous, get you on a diet plan and maybe pay for a gym membership and some kind of counselor to help you with your obvious mental issues. I just don't get it. The new normal, it must be the new normal for them, because I don't know people, I don't know actual dignified people that would run around doing any of this stuff. I mean, it's one thing to hold a sign and be at a protest where there's dignified people, and we are really protesting something that's important. It's another thing to protest something that the government is doing in your favor. Of course, the government, ICE officials are doing things in our favor, because they're removing people from our society who, one, if they're here illegally, they're taking our jobs. Two, if they're here illegally, we're paying for all their health care, their children in public school, and all that kind of stuff. We are doing that. Okay. And to sit there and say they pay taxes, I don't know what kind of taxes they think these guys are paying. What? Because they go to the grocery store and they pay sales tax, or they buy a gallon of gas and they pay tax on that? Because they're not paying income tax, that's for sure. Although I wouldn't doubt there's somewhere in the IRS, 2,000 page manual, or however big it is. It's something like that. If drug dealers, excuse me, you got to declare your pot. We want to know how much illegal income you made so we can tax you. Really? That is a statute. That is an actual statute. So maybe they have one provision. If you're here in this country illegally, could you please let us know how much money you made under the table? Yeah. Who's going to volunteer for that? The amount of ridiculousness is just over the top. So be careful on this No Kings thing. If you're in any of the vicinities, just like I said about January 6th, if you're in any of those areas whatsoever, you're going to have to watch out for people who you would think might be Trump supporters, but they're actually not. So any of this propaganda that's going to come over the weekend, I'm predicting it now, that it's not even real Trump supporters at all. And so on that note, I do want to talk about January 6th, because this is a big, big issue. Now, we have this video of the Capitol Police Chief who is testifying, and you guys might have seen this, but he's been in front of Congress more than once. All right. And
all the leadership of the
this.
plans to get them back into chambers. That would have been call number 3 with Speaker Pelosi. So you didn't have one call, you didn't have two calls, you had three calls. So
Yeah,
Speaker
more than that,
Pelosi's comments that she didn't speak to you are inaccurate.
That is correct, sir.
Today we're here to discuss the security failures that occurred on January 6, 2021, and how we can prevent these failures from occurring again. I want to dive into the questions, Chief Son. In your transcribed interview, you mentioned that you met with the House Sergeant at Arms regarding the National Guard prior to January 6th. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And who was the House Sergeant at Arms leading up to and on January 6th?
That would be Paul Irving.
And the House Sergeant at Arms is appointed by who?
It was appointed at that time by Speaker Pelosi.
And in your transcribed interview, you mentioned that when you first brought up the National Guard to the House Sergeant at Arms in the days leading up to January 6th, that Mr. Irving said he, quote, didn't like the optics, end quote. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Remember, everything's about optics. Everything's about optics. Nancy Pelosi was going around with her film crew on that day and literally admitted that this whole thing was orchestrated by her.
He referenced being concerned for optics.
And on January 6th, when you went to Mr. Irving to get his approval to call in the Guard, Mr. Irving said he would, quote, run it up the chain. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That was a telephone call. I didn't see him in person when I first made that request.
The House Sergeant at Arms is considered probably the most senior security official on the House side. When Mr. Irving says he has to, quote, run it up the chain, end quote, what did that mean?
I took that to mean his leadership chain.
And who would be his leadership chain? If he's functionally the most senior security official on the House side, correct?
That's his title. That's part of the title, the senior law enforcement official for the House of Representatives. But he would have been referring to the leadership team that goes up to Speaker Pelosi.
So the political leadership team, meaning elected officials, not another security official, is that?
That is correct, sir. He's the top security official for the House.
So running up the chain would most likely, in your opinion, is through the Speaker's office and possibly to Speaker Pelosi?
That would be where it ends, yes.
Okay, so let's park that there, and then let's jump to a second set here. In a press conference on January 7th, Speaker Pelosi called for your resignation on national television.
Yeah.
Speaker Pelosi also stated that she had not talked to you since the initial breach of the Capitol. But of course,
now, before we go on with that, I want to show you something, okay? Because I've got the log here. Here are the call logs. Former chief of the U.S. Capitol Police calls out Pelosi directly, says she repeatedly denied his multiple requests, which you can see here, for National Guard assistance before and on January 6th. I don't know why she would think that we can't find this. Goes on to say, even on January 6th, Pelosi's Sergeant at Arms denied his urgent request for over 70 minutes. Now, you can see exactly what he's saying here. Irving waiting for the okay from Pelosi. Irving still waiting for the okay from Pelosi. Senate waiting to concur with House. So they're sitting there and saying, now see, January 3rd, Pelosi's SAA Irving didn't like the optics. He just said that. And that was on January 3rd at 9:24 a.m. Then on January 3rd at 11:53 a.m., Senate SSA Stanger concurs with Irving that they don't like the optics. And then, as you can see, on January 6th, from 1 o'clock on till 2 o'clock, I mean, that's coming from Nancy Pelosi. Now, I want to show you something else. I want to show you what Kash Patel is saying about this whole entire thing. So here it is.
What government gangsters want to do is rob you of the truth. That's been the message. There was no insurrection. They ginned it up. Pelosi was too busy filming her movie on January 6th in the halls of the Capitol. That's how scared she was of everyone outside. And we know what she said.
Say that again. Say that again. I remember that from the book. Say that again. That's a huge deal.
Right. And this is what the deep state does. They buried it. Nancy Pelosi on January 6th was recording a movie she, as Speaker, was making. And in it, she said on video, I'm responsible for the security failures of January 6th. And the January 6th committee withheld that information for 3 years, as did she.
Now, if you guys didn't see it, Nancy Pelosi's own daughter was filming like a behind the scenes thing. So they were making this documentary. She's filming a behind the scenes thing. And that's what Kash Patel is talking about, where Nancy Pelosi says it on that video that her daughter released.
And she lied about it. We've got the receipts from Bowser in the book, her own letter, where Mayor Bowser rejects Donald Trump's authorization of additional National Guard.
Yeah, see, this is this is why I don't understand why they think we're going to fall for this. This is stuff that we said, I want to say, within a couple of days. So independent reporting was on it because we don't have an agenda of trying to cover up everything. We don't have an agenda from deep state mandates. What we have experienced, independent media has experienced censorship on telling you guys the truth, but we kept on doing it anyway, you know, and they've tried every way they possibly can to get us to stop talking. And we're just not going to do it. No matter what they say, we're just not going to do it. Let me show you this other thing here. Let me stop that one. Yeah, I got that one already. I want to stop that, and I want to bring this other one to you. So I like the guys on Twitter, X, whatever. They have information, they dig deep, and they bring out the stuff, and it's really, really good stuff. The chief of the Capitol Police, Stephen Sund, who oversaw January 6th, not only did he call the treacherous witch, Nancy Pelosi, once, he called her twice and then a third time. So that's that testimony that we were watching a minute ago. The lies just keep on coming with these guys. And it's just, I don't know. I don't like people who lie, and especially don't like it when it's people who
your transcribed interview. You're on the phone with Speaker Pelosi a few times. Can you explain that discrepancy?
Yeah, that is correct. I spoke to Speaker Pelosi 3 times that evening, and she went on national TV and said I'd never spoken to her, but I spoke to her 3 times. The three times were the first time when I went over to brief Vice President Pence at the secure location. I'd called House Sergeant Arms Irving, told him I was going over to brief the Vice President. I was also going over to do a personal assessment of the Capitol. At that point, things were getting under control. Went over there, briefed him on when we can get them back into chambers with, Mr. Irving being fully aware. He said he wanted to get Speaker Pelosi on the phone. He made a phone call from his cell phone at approximately 5:34, where I first briefed Speaker Pelosi. The second call was when I left that location. As I was walking away, I met up with Mr. Stenger, and we started walking over to the Senate to go brief the Senate. When Jennifer Hemingway, I believe it was Jennifer Hemingway, handed me the cell phone, and it was Emily Barrett's cell phone calling her, and it was Speaker Pelosi on the other line. This is my second call with Speaker Pelosi, questioning the information I'd given to Vice President Pence about when we can get back into chambers. I assured her that information was correct. I could get them back into chambers by 7 p.m., and the call ended. That was call number 2. Call number 3 was 6:25 p.m. I was over at the Senate from the secure location, from where the Senate had been sequestered, and on a cell phone using Robert Karam's cell phone, they dialed leadership, who was over off-site at a secure location, and I briefed all of the leadership of the plans to get them back into chambers. That would have been call number 3 with Speaker Pelosi.
So you didn't have 1 call, you didn't have 2 calls, you had 3 calls. So Speaker Pelosi's comments that she didn't speak to you are inaccurate.
That is correct, sir.
Let me shift gears and go back as it relates to the optics of bringing people up to Capitol Hill and running things up the chain of command, ultimately to the Speaker's office. Do you think Speaker Pelosi's office or Speaker Pelosi herself politicized Capitol security?
I have no idea on that, sir.
Okay. Any other clarifications you'd like to make as it relates to Speaker Pelosi's comments that you didn't speak to her?
I just, wish she had considered that, wish she had considered some of the stuff that I faced and the efforts I went through to bring in the outside resources on that day before she called for my resignation.
Now, see, that guy he did lose his job over that stuff. And let me see once again if I can bring that up for you about the timeline. See, this is what is so egregious. And Nancy Pelosi, she's literally trying to spin this around on Donald Trump. I'm going to end the FBI on January 6th. Let me show you this video that this isn't very old. This particular video here, I think she did it yesterday, but I don't know because this is a new video that I haven't seen before.
The FBI and other federal agencies are operating in the city. We want a complete list. Who's in charge? What is the chain of command? And by what authority?
Now, she's pretending that she sent this letter to the FBI. That's what she's pretending.
Again, I refer to this letter. It's alarming that our nation's capital, peaceful protesters are confronted with the deployment of various security officers with from multiple jurisdictions, including, and this is important, unidentified federal law enforcement.
Now, because remember, it came out, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, who are in charge of the FBI, came out and said there was like 275 installed FBI agents in the crowd on January 6th.
Further in the letter, I say, to make matters worse, some officers have refused to provide information and have been deployed without identifying insignia, badges, or nameplates. The practice of officers operating with full anonymity undermines accountability and ignites government distrust and suspicion, and is counter to the principle of procedural justice and legitimacy during this precarious moment in our history. The Justice Department itself, in the past, has stated that allowing officers to work anonymously creates mistrust and undermines accountability, and it conveys a message to community members that through anonymity, officers may seek to act with impunity. In recent days, many former high-level Department of Justice officials have echoed those concerns and warned that allowing federal law enforcement officers to operate without identification can fatally weaken oversight efforts and fails to send the message that abuse will be tolerated.
The amount of lies coming out of that woman, it's just like one on top of another. I just don't even know what to say at this point, because we already know that it was an orchestrated stage thing. We've gone over the video a million times. People were arrested who shouldn't have been arrested. And for the Democrats to think that their continual whining is going to somehow change our minds that they're the instigators of violence is absolutely ridiculous. And speaking of violence, one of the candidates on the Democrat side is actually tweeted out, or excuse me, it was a text message that he was fine and had fantasized about murdering his opponent as well as his opponent's children. This guy is running to be the AG of one of the states, and I want to say it's Virginia, but for some reason, I can't remember what state it is. But listen to this Democrat and what he says about Jay Johnson's ridiculous fantasy about trying to kill and wanting to kill his opponent, the opponent's family, and the opponent's children. Listen to this. This is...
Jay said was awful. It's no worse than what Donald Trump says almost every day.
Almost every day. He says that Donald Trump every day is calling for the murder of his opponents and their children too. I have never heard Donald Trump ever say anything like that, but there's more.
The things that J.D. Vance has said, you compare it to the other evil things, people make mistakes.
People make mistakes. So he's saying that Jay Johnson, Democrat candidate, makes mistakes. So not only did he have this fantasy about killing his opponent, murdering his family and his children, and then typed it out, to other people, and somehow that's a mistake, while he's lying, I mean blatantly lying, and saying that Donald Trump says that about his opponents every day, and so does J.D. Vance.
I very much hope he prevails.
See, I very much hope he prevails. So that's why I keep telling you guys, if you are a downright crook and you have committed crimes, including murder, you too can be a Democrat candidate. Yeah, they love a good crook. And the amount of people that they put on the street with their ridiculous judges, do you know when a Democrat is lying when they open their mouths? I know. As soon as their mouths open, a lie is going to fall right out of it. And that's true. The vileness that I just can't even believe it. And don't think for 1 second that you can count on any of these cops doing the right thing, because here is what cops did on January 6th, then testified that a January 6th, I want to say prisoner, because it was prisoner. The cops did this and then lied and said a January 6th prisoner, one of the people in the crowd, did it. And because they showed this video at the trial right after the cop testified, obviously, that helped the January 6th prisoner. That is a cop cutting a tarp on January 6th. And this cop that's actually cutting the tarp right there was called to testify in a trial that this cop said that the January 6th prisoner is the one who cut it. And you can see it is the cops. Clear as day, cops doing it. Do not tell me at all that these guys are somehow on your side. This is one of the reasons why I really, 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 really have a hard time trusting any cops whatsoever. But I will say this, there is a cop, and I want to do a story on him hopefully next week if I can, if the Democrats don't do something else that's ridiculous. But I mean, that's a far stretch. So far, I've had 8 years worth of being able to report on them every day. There is one cop that actually is doing the right thing. So I find that very interesting and different. So I wanted to bring that to you. But there was something else in here. Yes, Christopher Wray.
Said he was communicating with his FBI handler while people were entering the U.S. Capitol. Can you confirm that the FBI had that sort of engagement with your own agents embedded into the crowd on January 6th?
What?
If you are asking whether the violence at the Capitol on January 6th was part of some operation orchestrated by FBI sources and or agents, the answer is emphatically
You're saying
not.
no?
No.
You're saying no?
Not
Okay.
violence orchestrated by FBI sources or agents.
Are you familiar with?
Did you see how forcefully, if I say it forcefully, then for some reason it's not a lie, Christopher Wray? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
You know what a ghost vehicle is? Director of the FBI certainly should. You know what a ghost bus is?
You know what's interesting is I knew when he was saying this what a ghost bus was, because I think it was within a week or something of the January 6th thing. This video that this senator is about ready to show you was already out. So this isn't new. This was in 2021.
A ghost bus?
Ghost bus.
I'm not sure I've used that.
I don't know. Boy, you guys in the FBI are really good actors. Never trust anyone from the FBI, the CIA. I don't even care if it's Kash Patel. I don't even care if it's Dan Bongino. Don't trust them.
That term before.
Okay. It was pretty common in in law enforcement. It's a vehicle that's used for secret purposes. It's painted over. These two buses in the middle here, they were the first to arrive at Union Station on January 6th, 0500. I have all this evidence.
See those?
I'm showing you a tip of this iceberg.
Mr. Chairman.
These two buses
Mr.
are
Chairman.
painted completely white.
Point of order.
We have video of those buses lined up outside on the street, one right after the other. This is a different angle and a different location.
Point of order. Sure.
Just run over the time.
I understand, but you'll recall that Ms. Jackson Lee's been allowed to go 2 minutes before. I've been very fair in letting people finish their questioning throughout my tenure as chairman, and I'll continue to be fair on that regard. But I will make a note to the members, if you could stay as close within your time as possible. We have a lot of people that want to ask these gentlemen questions. So with that, the gentleman yields. But your point, I've been very fair in this, Mr. Ivey, with everybody on this side of the aisle just as much.
I don't think I accused you of being unfair, Mr. Chairman.
You're making a point. Okay, thank you. I now recognize Mr.
May I
Gray.
close this statement, Mr.
No,
Chairman?
I think your time is expired, Mr.
I note that other members across the aisle have been granted time, and
That's how they do it all the time.
To my question being closed. This is a very significant hearing, Mr. Chairman, and these buses are nefarious in nature and were filled with FBI informants dressed as Trump supporters and deployed onto our Capitol on January 6th. Your day is coming, Mr. Ray.
Did you hear what he said? Your day is coming, Mr. Ray. I believe that's true. I think Comey is just going to be the tip of the iceberg on what's coming next. I mean, it almost looks now, I don't know for sure, but from the reports that I'm seeing, it looks like the next people to be indicted might be the Clintons. And I would say the Obamas, but I'm not sure. I don't know if Michelle, Michael, whatever, Obama would be in that group, but man, they are really coming after Obama. I mean, look at this video. I have so much video, it's ridiculous. So this is happening at the same exact time as the No Kings, the January 6th stuff, the government shutdown, all this kind of thing. And Tulsi Gabbard brings out this.
Tulsi Gabbard declassified documents today from before and after the 2016 election, promising they would show the American people how intelligence was politicized and weaponized by some key figures in the Obama administration. She talks about it in an interview airing on Hannity this evening.
You have some of the most powerful people in our country directly leading at the helm, President Obama and his senior-most national security cabinet, essentially making a very intentional decision to create this manufactured, politicized piece of intelligence.
According to the documents, August 31st, 2016, a Homeland Security official tells then DNI James Clapper that there was, quote, no indication of a Russian threat to directly manipulate the actual vote count. On September 9th, 2016, officials argue the presidential daily brief should make clear that Russia, quote, probably is not trying to influence the election by using cyber means to target election infrastructure. Then after the election, the tone appears to change. On December 9th, 2016, the documents reveal the Obama White House held a National Security Council Principals Committee meeting on a sensitive topic. It included then DNI James Clapper, John Brennan, the CIA director, Susan Rice, who was National Security Advisor, Andrew McCabe from the FBI, and others. After that, an email came out to Intelligence Committee leaders from an aide to Clapper saying the intelligence community was prepared to produce an assessment per President Obama's request to pull together the information intelligence agencies had about the tools Moscow used and the actions it took to influence the 2016 election. By December 14th, there were leaks saying that intelligence community officials believe, quote, with a high level of confidence, that Russian President Vladimir Putin was personally involved in the U.S. election hack. Then, on January 6, 2017, 2 weeks before the first Trump inauguration, a new intelligence community assessment was released that, according to the Office of DNI, quote, directly contradicted the intelligence community assessments made throughout the previous 6 months. Former President Obama's office declined to.
I wonder why he declined to say anything. See, this whole entire thing should be exonerating. Remember Tory says? So Tory was in a video. It was a kind of a documentary made by Millie Weaver, who used to work for Alex Jones. Let me see if I can put her up here so you guys can see who I'm talking about. Millie Weaver did this, and what's interesting is they don't have you can find Millie Weaver. Millennial Millie is what she goes by. Anyway, she used to work for Alex Jones. Alex Jones was mad because she was doing this documentary called Shadow Government, and she wasn't bringing it to Alex Jones to do. See, this is why I have a problem with some of these people, because if one of my staff was doing some kind of a documentary like this, I would be so happy. I'd be like, sure, keep working on it. What do you need? But Alex Jones was mad because Millie would not have him as the narrator. Millie wanted to be the narrator of her own work, which, you know, if you've ever met her, I don't know. I don't even want to, I'm not a fan. Let's put it that way. But Tory is different. Tory is in the movie Shadow Government, and she's talking about how she was recruited to hack into various files, and she didn't realize that what the files that she was hacking into was changing around the information. She said, this is stuff that the government does all the time. Watch that. If you don't have the movie, I do. The documentary. But she was recruited to hack into government files and replace one file with another file of things that now she knows would have proven. And if she was smart, she kept them. I can't remember the movies. The documentary's been so long ago. But that would have proven all of the insurrection stuff, the trying to do a government coup, trying to take over the government, all that kind of thing. Now, this is why they were so disturbed when Donald Trump won, because they were not prepared for the overwhelming amount of votes that Donald Trump got. They underestimated their ability to rig and install the president of their choice. And I say the president of their choice because I don't think it's been our choice ever since any machines came on the scene. I'm not even sure it was our choice before that, but definitely with bringing in the machines came the rigging. And that's a whole historical thing. And interestingly enough, the Democrats are the ones who've been whining about rigged elections forever, telling you exactly how the machines work, about the installed chips, all kinds of things. The Democrats have been saying that forever. And now that we know it's true, now they're like, oh, this is the most safe election we've ever had, ever. Candy DeLeon, nice to see you. Haven't seen you for a long time. She's one of my moderators, so haven't seen her for a while. But yeah, so this whole entire government situation, it's almost, to me, I don't know what it's like to you, but to me, it's like a total scam all across the board. And speaking of scam, I do want to go back to what the Democrats are going to be doing this weekend. So here is what the Democrats did. I believe it was yesterday.
Last night, they played some games. They stormed my office. Maybe you saw some of the video online that they themselves shared, or someone did. They berated a Capitol Police officer, screamed at him. He was just merely standing his post. Shows again their disdain for law enforcement, as we see all around the country, the Democrats and everyone in that party, screaming, assaulting ICE officers. They did it right here in the Capitol last night. A few members of Congress went into the little foyer of my office and tore down a sign that I had up and just engaged in all sorts of political stunts and antics. They've been doing that every day now, and it shows their desperation. It also shows a very strong contrast between the party that is working for the people and trying to keep the government open and do the right thing, and the party that is engaging in all this nonsense.
Engaging in all this nonsense. It looks like an insurrection to me, she says. I agree. It looks to me, I mean, they're doing exactly what the peaceful protesters were doing. I don't think there's anything wrong with them going over to Mike Johnson's office. But here's the even dumber part. None of those Democrats called ahead to see if Mike Johnson was even there, because he wasn't there. He wasn't even in the building. That was staged completely for the media whatsoever. As you see, they brought the media with them. They staged the whole thing. And now you're probably going to see on mainstream media how Mike Johnson wouldn't come out of his office. It would have been even funnier, though, had he shown up in the back of the crowd and said, "Hey, I'm over here. What do you guys want?" Which is probably what I would have done. But this whole government shutdown and not January 6th, the No Kings protest is because AOC wants to run for Chuck Schumer's seat. So it has nothing to do with the government shutdown, okay? It has nothing to do with the No Kings rally. It has nothing to do with any kind of budget, anything. And here's why. So the last time they were going to do this government shutdown, Chuck Schumer went ahead and kept the government open with his vote and told the people to vote. And he got a big, huge bunch of backlash from the Democrats because of that. So this time he wants to look like he's doing something because he knows AOC is going to run for a seat. And why does AOC want to run for a seat? Well, yes, she is an arrogant blowhard who has similarities to a donkey, I might say. But she's trying to run for president. Now, I don't know who's a better candidate, Kamala Harris or AOC. The jokes are going to write themselves. I can tell you that. If she runs for president at all, the jokes will write themselves because she comes off like a totally arrogant, ridiculous, stupid person. And like John Kennedy said, did you see what Senator John Kennedy said? That she is making blonde jokes obsolete. Those things are going away because, wow, this is one of the most ridiculous people that are in Congress right now. Besides, I think the only worst person I would say would be Jasmine Crockett and her little bunch. Let me see what you're saying. Crying Chucky Schumer is chicken of AOC. That's hilarious. Yeah, that's the whole reason. Yeah. Linda says, a donkey and a cackling hen. I know, because both of those people want to run for president. I think it would be great for them to have a ticket of women. I think maybe we should say that. I want cackling Kamala and AOC. I think that would be a great ticket, don't you? I mean, the memes just totally would write themselves. That is a losing ticket if I ever heard of it. And in fact, and so now we have AOC, cackling Kamala, and Gavin Gruesome, whatever. All right. Those three are the front runners now for the Democrat Party's nomination. I don't know who would be a bigger clown there. Bernie Sanders seems like a serious candidate compared to that, just so you know. And then you've got J.D. Vance. So it's J.D. Vance, which obviously he's going to win the nomination. I mean, the guy is so articulate, it's ridiculous. And especially I have a shirt that says, I don't really care, Margaret. I love that one. I don't really care, Margaret. And all the things that JD Vance says are just hilarious t-shirts in the making. Him, who can think off the top of his head, and AOC, Kathleen Kamala, and Gavin Newsom. Really? I think that right there is a definite dream team for us, not for them, but for us. So I'm going to hope that that's the case. I don't think the Democrats are brave enough to run an all-woman ticket. I really just don't think so. I know that's what they want to do, because if you had Kathleen Kamala and you had AOC, then not only do you have their ultimate dream ticket of women, they're both not white. I think I heard little rumors that Jasmine Crockett might want to run too. Can you imagine what it's going to be like at some kind of a Democratic debate where you have Kathleen Kamala, AOC, Jasmine Crockett? I mean, really. Oh, word salad Kamala, donkey face AOC, crying Chuck, Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren. I know. You should tune in just for the memes, because the memes are going to drop everywhere if that's what they're going to do. Now, of course, the midterms are coming up, and unfortunately, most of the people that should vote in the midterms don't vote in the midterms, which is where they always hope to gain seats. Hey, Kevin, nice to see you. The inmates running the asylum, for sure. Donald Trump said something about bringing back the asylums, and every single day I am more on board with that, because it just seems as if the crazies are out there, and for some reason people are appeasing that stuff. It's like, excuse me, you are a mental health patient. You need to go somewhere else and stop accosting me like yesterday. Did I ever think about running? Dilly Mean Team. Yeah, I've thought about running, not for president or anything like that, for sure. Here's the thing about running for an office. I don't mind running for an office. That's not the issue. It'd have to be the right thing. I did run for county legislature, which is county commissioner in Jackson County. And I kept telling the people that were running with me, this whole thing is rigged. And I said, I will run. And here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to really go out and campaign real hard, because I want to show you something. I want to prove something to you. What I want to do is I want to prove to you that this thing is rigged, because here is me who, yeah, I know some people in Jackson County. I don't think I know enough people that I could win in something like that. But I said, here's what's going to happen, because they don't want to show you that it's rigged, because nobody knew the guy that I was running against. All right. Hardly anybody. The guy is adult. He's ridiculous. He's just a little puppet. All right. So nobody knows him. Nobody knows me. And I was like, okay, I think what's going to happen here is the race is going to be super close. Okay. And it'll be like a slight margin on his side. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. And so the early voting came in, the early voting where people cast their ballots and they're counted before that. So when that happened, you could already see what was going to happen. And I said, watch, that percentage is going to be the same exact all the way across the board. This percentage won't change at all. The vote tally will change because they have to make it look good. But the percentage isn't going to change across the board. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. And so I was like, see, it's not going to make any difference. And one of the people that were running in the same race, he went out and door knocked on more doors than anyone I've ever known in my life. Okay. He gave speeches every day. He was probably the hardest working candidate I've ever seen in my life, besides someone running for president. Okay. And he still lost. And I knew, and I told him, I said, look, this whole thing is rigged. You're literally doing this and it's rigged. They already know who they want and they're going to make it super close. And that's exactly what they did. I know for a fact that it was rigged because we had someone do an analysis, which was Dr. Frank. You guys might have heard of him. With he goes around with Mike Lindell. And he did analysis of all the counties in the United States of America and found 3 counties, which are all in, I want to say Montana, I think it is, but it might be Wyoming, but I think it's Montana, who only use paper ballots, count the ballots by hand. They have no machines whatsoever. And those are the only 3 that didn't have any rigged percentages on the votes. But every single county, there is no way, okay, that this statistic would be the same in every single county if it wasn't rigged. Was 10% moving the line 10% every single time, whatever the election is, every single time. So if you have 4 to 6 different elections in your county over a period of time, that counts in that. And the line will move blue a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more until it turns blue. And that's what they've been trying to do in Missouri for a really long time. But because they couldn't get it fast enough, they decided to run Democrats in Republican seats. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. If for some reason there's a demise of the Democrat Party, which I think there will be, I mean, it's kind of obvious that they can't last much longer. They are literally on life support right now because they're socialists. Socialists are taking over the Democrat. They knew socialists isn't going to work in the Republican Party, so they didn't even try. But socialist people sitting in Republican seats will work. Okay. So that's what they've been doing. Just a little bit at a time. Chip, chip, chip away. To see if they can turn the red states blue. But now we know that they can't do it. Recently, a Republican has bought Dominion. I don't know if that's going to help or anything else. And the reason I'm saying I don't know if that's going to help is because the Republican Party isn't much better than the Democrat Party. It's all rigged. They refuse to get rid of the tabulators. And so, I don't know. I mean, I don't have any problem with machines if it was right. The problem is it's not. And because of that, I think they need to get rid of all machinery that have anything to do with the elections at all. So with that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And tomorrow's Friday. So we've got one more day of the show. And for this week, it'll be a wrap tomorrow. So I'll see you back here tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time.